Hi everyone, this is Dan for thecreativemusician.net, and today I'm bringing you a short video about studio monitors and headphones and why they can play such an important role when it comes to your home audio recordings. Let's get started. Now, first things first, when it comes to recording at home, both headphones and studio monitors are very important parts of the recording process, but for the purposes of this video, I think it's probably easiest to sort of break them into two separate categories because they have different uses and different benefits in different situations. However, you can't just use one all of the time and get excellent results. You sort of need to use them in conjunction with one another in order to sort of achieve the best overall sound, if that makes sense. Now, the first thing to stress is that regardless of the type or the brand that you're using, speakers and headphones all have unique audio characteristics dependent on their frequency responses. So this basically means every single speaker or every single set of headphones will have a unique sound to it. The same thing is true when it comes to headphones. Now, you've got closed back headphones, you've got earphones, you've got earbuds, you've got a bunch of different types of headphones that all have very specific and very individual audio characteristics to them. Now, this can pose a significant challenge to us when we're recording because it puts us in a situation where we might hear something on that particular recording or on those particular sets of speakers and adjust our mixes accordingly. But when you take that mix and translate it to a different sound system, you might not end up with the same results. Now, you may have noticed this phenomenon yourself. Maybe you've worked on some recordings at home and you've mixed everything the way you think will sound great, but then you've put it in the car and you realize, oh, your mix doesn't translate very well. Now, because every single speaker out there has its own unique audio characteristics or frequency responses, it makes our job a little bit more challenging as it's important to have a reference point in a studio. Now, how we do this in a studio setting is through flat response studio monitors or monitoring headphones. Now, generally speaking, the best bet for you when it comes to studio monitors is going to be flat response studio monitors. Now, this basically means that the audio spectrum or the frequency across the entire bandwidth is not going to be augmented or colored in any unnatural way. It means that what you're hearing coming out of the speakers is as accurate or as transparent as possible. You're going to hear a very accurate and a very true representation of what your mics are picking up, of what your instruments are doing when you're performing, the different mics, how they're interacting in the room. Your mixes are just going to sound a lot better because you're going to have an accurate representation or an accurate portrayal of what you're recording. Now, keep in mind, studio monitors are not all considered flat response. For decent flat response studio monitors, you're looking at $400 to $500 per speaker, or around $800 to $1,000 for a good pair. Now, equally useful for a small home studio setup will be a set of monitoring headphones. They can be incredibly useful when it comes to recording track over track, or just in situations when you're trying to reduce excess bleed into your microphones. Now, having a good set of studio headphones is also quite helpful when it comes to the panning or the stereo spread in your mixes, and just determining where everything ought to sit. It is nice to have a bit of a stereo spread in your mixes depending on what style of music you're recording, but it really does help to have a set of headphones, quality headphones, so you can get an accurate representation of where everything is sitting position-wise within your mix. Now, I've used these Audio Technica ATH M50Xs for many years. I've had several sets of these, and they're brilliant. They're just a great all-round headphone. They're excellent for tracking, excellent for referencing. They're just a really good all-round headphone, and I can just speak from experience on that. But there are a number of great headphones out there, irrespective of the brand, anywhere from a couple $100s to, $500 to $600. You can get yourself a really good set of headphones, but you don't have to spend that much. I mean, these headphones are about $160, $170 a set, and they are monitoring headphones as well. So you do get that accuracy and that transparency in your frequency response. Now, one of the old school rules is never mix with headphones. This is something anybody who's been in the game long enough will have heard before at some point. It's not necessarily as true anymore because over-the-ear headphones and monitoring headphones have come a long way in the past 10 to 15 years. You can get very accurate sounding headphones, but the reality is you never want to rely on one source for a final mix. Now, it's important to remember that if you're planning on releasing a song, the people who are listening to it are probably going to be listening to it on AirPods or through their phone speakers or through a Bluetooth soundbar. It's important to test your mixes on these sound sources as well, just to ensure that they're translating well. Now, overall, it is important to be using flat response studio monitors in your workspace, as well as monitoring headphones, both of which are specifically tuned to deliver accuracy and transparent results. That way you're not overcompensating in your mixes. The other takeaway should be never just use one sound source. So never just rely on your studio monitors or just your headphones for that final mix. You should be using both in conjunction with one another in order to dial in your mix appropriately. Once you've dialed in a decent mix using both your studio monitors and your headphones, don't be afraid to take that mix to different audio environments. Have a listen through Apple AirPods, have a listen through your phone speaker or through your car stereo system. Just take that mix to a different setting and have an ear for what's going on across the spectrum. Now, ultimately, it comes down to you trusting your own judgment and also using your ear in order to dial in the best mixes. There's no clear-cut, cookie-cutter formula for dialing in a perfect mix. It comes down to trusting your ear in order to get the best sound. Having quality equipment, particularly studio monitors and a decent set of studio headphones, is going to make or break your recordings. If you don't get flat response speakers, you're going to suffer the consequences because your mixes are going to be inconsistent. You're not going to have consistent results. The same can be true with your headphones. You might be overcompensating in your mixes because you can't quite hear particular frequencies, or you might be overcompensating the top end of the vocals. It really just comes down to using your ears, but also trusting the equipment that you have. Now, if spending $1,000 to $2,000 on new equipment is out of the question for you, be sure to check out Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Reverb.com. There's always deals out there and people looking to trade off equipment. There's great secondhand gear out there. You don't have to buy new in order to get quality results. Now, the last thing I want to say is you could have the most expensive equipment on the planet, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best results. Studio recording, be it at home or in a professional studio, is an art, and it's going to take a lot of time and patience to build up the skills required to do it consistently. Now, having quality tools is going to help you to get consistent results in your recordings, but at the end of the day, it is just about using your ears and trusting your best judgment in order to perfect your mixes to what you think sounds best. Again, my name's Dan for thecreativemusician.net, and we'll see you next time.